Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, here we go. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah, I got a hangnail. Trying to get rid of it. Because otherwise I won't be able to focus at all.
That's our ADHD girl over there.
Sometimes things are challenging to get done before recording.
Yeah, we can multitask.
We try.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda. I'm multitasking by trying to stay hydrated. Because my kidney numbers are fine, but like could be improved. Fine, I'll drink more water. Okay, what are you, a doctor? Yes, I went to the doctor yesterday. It was terrible.
Say, someone had a doctor's appointment yesterday.
I'm fine.
You're always feisty after your GP appointment.
Wasn't even GP, it was endocrinology, so it's worse.
Oh.
It's way more annoying. And they gave me a referral, finally, to see a GI specialist in office. Guess when is the earliest appointment?
December.
September.
Oh, God.
I could do video, but I've done video appointments, and I can't do a gastric emptying study in a video appointment.
No.
So I have to go in.
Yeah, you do. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I'm Amanda. Everything is fine.
Everything sure is fine over here in Wine and Crime Land, and we have a very special gals pick for you today.
Yes.
That we switched at the last minute because I saw a TikTok. Actually, my segment concerns another TikTok.
Okay.
Anyway, I thought that it was timely and important to maybe cover strikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a lot to know. This is very much a know your rights socialist people's movement episode that we're giving you today. Because, yeah, the world, our country for sure is crumbling into dust quickly.
Has been for a minute. She's just speeding up in the current times.
Things have ramped up.
Things have ramped. Let's prepare ourselves.
It helps to know your rights, your collective rights.
It does help.
So yeah, today we're covering strikes, gals pick. I think we should just get into it.
Yeah, if you're drinking today, I highly recommend the Striking Red.
Oh.
Get it? Do you get how it's connected?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I wanted it to be subtle.
It's no tons.
It's no tons. It is a cracker, though. It is the Striking Red South Australian Cabernet Sauvignon 2022, mate.
Oh.
Speaking of mate, Australian, have you heard the news that in Sheena Shea's upcoming tell-all book, she gives information that Brock cheated on her while she was pregnant with Summer Moon?
Yeah.
During COVID?
Because he was afraid to be a dad again. Ugh.
Oh my God. Then don't.
Yeah. Well,
We're
she was
better
pregnant.
off without you.
Yeah, so your solution is to go and be a terrible partner?
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Anyway, you wouldn't be a terrible partner if you ordered Striking Red South Australian Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a rich and complex wine with layers of flavor and soft, well-structured tannins. So it's not going to be like super tannic. This should be a nice drinkable red. It is a nice, deep brick red with a nose prominent in black currant and leafy, earthy tones. This would pair really well with hearty meats, strong cheeses, like a robust bolognese.
Powerful flavors.
You've got jammy berry fruit flavors on the palate, and it's nice and balanced. It's going to finish pretty dry, but not like too lip smacky dry. Cabernet tends to be a little bit on the jammier side. It is a screw cap, so you don't need a Wine and Crime Nice Pop or XOXO, the Wine and Crime Gals iridescent wine key from our online store, wineandcrimepodcast.bigcartel.com. But you could have one just in case you needed it. And she is 14% ABV.
Oh, damn.
Yes. I found this via Wines Online. It is an Australian cab, but it does ship. I'm very curious if they carry it around here in the States, but I'm going to be honest, I didn't look super, super deep. Once I found it, I was like, this is the one. But it does give me the option to add it to my cart and ship it to my location. So if you want to get in there, you can try them out. And honestly, just a quick Goog of striking red South Australian Cabernet is going to give you everything that you need. It's a basic cab. It retails for like $12, but it has really great tasting notes, and Cabernets are a hard wine to like fuck up. So if you are looking for a red that you are hoping will be a crowd pleaser, you're going to a dinner party, you're going to a function, you're going to the in-laws house, a nice Cabernet in that like $12 to $15 range, it doesn't have to be super expensive. That is going to be absolutely perfect. Basically, everybody loves a cab. So don't worry yourself. I'm also going to get violently high because this day has already been chaos. What are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking ice water, but I do have a bowl of Cheez-Its.
Oh, shit.
So since you don't have an actual bottle to crack, I can crack a cracker.
Do it.
For all those misophobes out here, sorry in advance. T-dub. Cheers, lady.
Oh, God.
Cheers.
Listen, I know people don't like when we eat on the air. We try to do it very rarely, but we are running around all fucking day. I've got hella diabetes. We don't always have time to take a break. Sometimes I have to grab a snack while I'm at work. It is what it is. I'm sorry. Sorry.
All right. Cheers.
Okay, now mute your mic, except don't, because it's your turn. But we get to take a short break, so you can chew during the ads. And then we'll be right back to dive into your segment for strikes. Unless you are a Wine and Crime Uncorked subscriber, and then you're going to skip right over this. You get your content ad-free. Summer's in full swing, y'all. It's hot, and I see myself wanting to reach for those old, familiar, tattered shorts.
Paper thin.
Paper thin, the same tanks, the same tired, falling apart stuff that was like fast fashion that isn't going to last to refresh the closet. But you got to not waste money on pieces that you're only going to wear for one season, okay? And that is where Quince comes in. Their clothes are classic. They're timeless. They feel luxurious. They look elevated. And the quality is way beyond what you would expect for the price. Like, it's kind of mind-blowing. It's the kind of wardrobe upgrade that just works.
Yeah. So they've got, like, for example, 100% European linen tops starting at just $30. Excuse you. Washable silk dresses and skirts and really cute shirts and soft cotton sweaters, versatile warm weather pieces you'll reach for again and again. I have the same dress in 3 different colors.
Oh, yeah.
It's so dang cute. The best part is everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. It's truly shocking.
Yeah.
So they do this by working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen. So Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Their Italian leather collection. I have to stay away from it. It's so cute.
Their jewelry, their accessories, they have bags and shoes. They have everything that you need.
I recently ordered a whole bedding set.
Yes,
from
you did.
Quince, and
it's gorgeous.
It's so cute. It's like blue. It's like almost like a denim-y blue with like a white threading throughout, and it's kind of like ribbed. It's so cute, and it was unbelievably reasonably priced. Like, bedding can get really expensive, and this was exactly what I needed at a beautiful price point. I am going to Quince for all of my future bedding needs.
And it'll last you. So give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/wine for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/wine to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/wine.
We love our cats. We always love our kitties. It can be frustrating when you wake up to vomit on the carpet.
Oh, my Lord.
Most mornings.
Constantly.
And that was a real challenge for me with, in particular, Ray. Not to throw anyone under the bus, but
we're looking at you, Ray.
When we got this new sponsor, which is Smalls Cat Food, I had high hopes, but it exceeded my expectations. I haven't cleaned up vomit in probably a couple of weeks, which is unheard of in my household.
Yeah, truly.
Smalls has changed the game for my cats, and they love it. I have completely switched over to Smalls.
Yeah, you gotta try it. If you're a cat household, Smalls is like your girl, okay? So Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients that you'd find in your fridge. Honestly, your cats are gonna like eat better than you. And it's delivered right to your door. That's why cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. And to get 60% off your first order plus free shipping, head to smalls.com and use our promo code GALS for a limited time only. My cats do like their kibble, but they love wet food. Bill calls it making them soup. And so we have like the Smalls different varieties of wet food in our freezer that we'll thaw out, but then they also make those broths.
Yes,
so
they love
it's
the
like
broth.
They love the broth. So sometimes we'll put extra water in the cat food when Bill's quote unquote making them soup. But now we get to actually put in these like protein packed healthy broths to give them a little bit more of that, liquid, because cats can sometimes be finicky about drinking their water. They are taking this down. And my cat Beans, as you know, has a special face shape. They sent us this food dish that's elevated. It's like on a little pedestal, and the top is ceramic, so it's safe for their skin. There's like no plastic or anything that can give them the cat acne. And you can pop the ceramic bowl off of the little pedestal stand and clean it and then put it back. And that's what we use to make them their soup so that they have a really easy time reaching their food. It's just better for their digestion. It's like they've really thought of everything. I'm obsessed. And just a little bit about them. They started back in 2017 by a couple guys that were home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. And then within a few short years, they were serving millions of meals to cats across the US. People were like, oh my God, this stuff is amazing. So, you can just feed your cat kibble, but believe it or not, your kitty descended from ferocious desert cats who like hunted live prey for food. And your cat is, I know it's hard to believe when you look at Beans, but they're not that different. They still need fresh protein-packed meals to be at their best. And the switch is easy because they love it. Like, they were not finicky about us switching them to this wet food as opposed to the soupy stuff they were having before. And after switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. And that's a big deal.
For a limited time only, because you are a Wine and Crime listener, you can get 60% off your first order of Smalls plus free shipping by using our code GALS. That's 60% off when you head to smalls.com and use promo code GALS. Again, that's promo code GALS for 60% off your first order plus free shipping at smalls.com.
So y'all know I am not the most dedicated body hair shaver. My body hair does not bother me. And I'll often let, the pits grow, the legs grow, but a couple times a year, every 3 to 6 months, I'm doing the full body like a wet seal.
An everything shower.
Yeah, cut it all down. And this razor from Flamingo has completely changed the game because Flamingo is revolutionizing hair removal and body care by focusing on what's important, and that's high quality, affordable solutions for all the places you really want smooth for that special time of year when you're like, okay, it's time to shave it all.
Yeah, Flamingo's razor handles are ergonomically designed for your hands. So it fits super comfortably. You're not going to be slipping and sliding all over in the shower. They have this really cool magnetic button that you can just stick on the side of your shower and it just hangs there.
I love the little holder. It's so nice. And it just keeps your razor dry and clean longer.
Yeah, off of the side of your tub.
Yeah, where it's just soaking in goopy water. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Their flexible hinge is designed to hug every curve of your body and get those hard to reach areas. because we've got curvy, beautiful bods, and we don't want any nicks. We don't want any bleeding when we're going about this.
Carnage.
My favorite Flamingo product is their aftershave serum. Good Lord. It's like this hyaluronic acid infused, ultra hydrating serum that I put on my legs after I get them all silky smooth. That is, I think, my favorite part of my routine. Flamingo has the products for you no matter your style.
So keep smooth and refreshed with Flamingo hair removal products made with your body in mind. Get started with an exclusive offer for our listeners, 25% off your first order at shopflamingo.com/gals. That's shopflamingo.com/gals. We are back. Lucy, what do you have for background, hopefully tips, maybe psych, I don't know, maybe a case, I don't know, for strikes?
I got a little bit of everything here today.
Oh, a smorgasbord.
Or smorgasbord. Per my boyfriend, Encyclopedia Britannica, a strike is a collective refusal by employees to work under the conditions required by employers.
Goddamn right. Fuck them.
Fuck them. They don't care about you. The primary causes for strikes are in response to economic conditions. So these are meant to improve wages and benefits, and labor practices. So they're striking for better working conditions.
Yes, she is.
Oh, she's so beautiful. Other strikes can stem from sympathy with other striking unions or from jurisdictional disputes between two unions. Illegal strikes, because as we'll get to, there are what are called protected strikes and unprotected strikes.
Okay.
So illegal strikes include sit-down strikes. So these would be like sit-ins. They're meant to take up space and like draw attention to their cause.
That's
They're
illegal?
like, it's civil disobedience.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay.
Yeah, it's not. It's that is more of a demonstration than a strike, but it's kind of utilizes the same strategies. There's also what's called wildcat strikes. So these are work stoppages undertaken pretty much by like rogue employees. They're less organized because, they don't have consent of their respective unions, and they happen like overnight without warning.
Okay.
And a protected strike, you have to give, I believe, 10 days notice.
Yeah.
There are also partial strikes, such as slowdowns or sick-ins, where like everyone just calls in sick because what are they going to do?
Right.
That's what a lot of nurses have to do, because as we'll get to, there are parameters regarding healthcare workers and the legality of those strikes or the protectedness of those strikes. Strikes may also be called for purely political reasons, such as the general strike, in which a ton of people across many industries organize to achieve political objectives.
And when you say purely political, that does not by any means indicate that any labor movement or strike has a political element to it, because our politics are ruled by a system of capitalism. So like, we're aware that the striking is a political act for fair wages and fair treatment and, economic justice. And that there are strikes that have like a very specific goal, which is my nursing hours are too fucking long and I'm not getting paid enough, and we need to fix collectively that problem. And then what you're saying, a general strike, is more like, okay, everybody with the capacity to just not work, to slow the massive like wheel cog of capitalism on a much broader scale.
Yes.
Isn't just for necessarily one specific thing. It could be to just send a massive political message from a large collective of people.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, obviously, if somebody says, I'm not being paid enough wages for the hours and the job that I'm doing, inherently that is political in its own way.
Of course.
But there aren't those specific objectives that you can negotiate between your union representatives and your employer and blah, blah, blah. Like a general strike is a very loud message to the government and basically the higher echelons of society that the working class ain't happy. So because those aren't necessarily specific objectives that a general strike is like arguing for, then it's mostly just a, hey, fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So most industrialized countries grant the right to strike in principle to private sector workers. Some countries require efforts to be made to settle before workers can strike. So
negotiations first. And if no side
at least
is...
attempts towards negotiations.
Yeah.
But yeah, if one or both sides isn't having it, then they can strike. But
Well, 'cause,
they
yeah,
have to prove that they've tried something before this.
I feel like that happens. My sister is an educator. Now she's on a district level, but she used to be a classroom educator. And a lot of my friends are classroom educators. And they are always talking about, like, if XYZ doesn't work, then we will go on strike on this day. So they have, like, a schedule for when they're striking. So there's, like, a schedule for negotiations and then a schedule for the strike under their union.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've
very
never
organized.
been in a union because I've always worked in restaurants basically, and then now we're podcasting, and I hope our conditions are decent. I mean, we have unlimited sick time and health
John
coverage.
and Andrea go on strike.
Oh
no,
we'd meet your demands. I mean, I don't know how
Just
we would do it,
text us.
but we would fucking make it work because we need you.
Well, that's how it's supposed to work. But yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to like big organizations and companies and corporations and, you know, Starbucks or I don't know, the Philadelphia Sanitation Waste Management.
Yeah.
Then
Go off, Philly.
I
Keep stacking that trash, baby.
There's
Get
another
your
one
fucking rights.
There's another one in the Bay Area right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this episode won't come out for a little while. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure there will be some brand new fuckery afoot by the time this comes out. Okay, so yes to the fact that they have like a schedule and a calendar, because at least in the US and in some countries you have to give 10 days notice. So you have to say, okay, 10 days from now on July 20th, we're going to go on strike if our demands aren't met.
I feel like that specifically makes sense and is a good negotiating tool for emergency medical staff, because it's like people could die if their conditions aren't good, and to keep nurses and doctors, Jesus beans, keep doctors and nurses employed and working and safe and healthy and happy at their job. Those are life-saving services for the public.
So we will get to that. I can't find where I had that in my notes, but we'll get to healthcare workers, because they cannot strike the same way that, say, a warehouse worker can.
Right.
At least as covered by, I mean, of course they can,
right.
but those are not protected strikes under the legislation that we'll get to. Okay. Some countries forbid any kind of strikes, such as China. According to the National Labor Relations Board, which, by the way, I cannot believe that their website is still like active. It hasn't been taken down yet.
By the Trump administration, you mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's telling you your workers' rights. Mm-hmm. But by the way, it's nlrb.gov if anyone wants to archive it.
Do it.
And as soon as I did access this particular page, navigating to the like sub pages was really slow. So it's still a little bit funky, but it's there.
But it's still there.
As of today. Okay, so the Wagner Act, a.k.a. the National Labor Relations Act of 1935, is a foundational statute of United States labor law that seeks to correct the, quote, inequality of bargaining power and guarantees the right of private sector employees to organize into trade unions, engage in collective bargaining, and take collective action such as strikes. Mm-hmm. A major part of this act was banning company unions, because unionized companies is antithetical to the whole fucking point of independent trade unions in the first place.
Yeah, the only reason we fucking need a union is because you assholes don't care if we're alive or dead. They just care if we're producing.
It basically like made a solid delineation between the workers and the employers. Uh-huh. Because I think previously the employers would be like, well, fuck you. We're going to make our own unions and totally crush you. Mm-hmm. Because we're bigger and richer. Mm-hmm. So FDR signed this into law in 1935. Some strikes or certain activities within a strike or associated with strikes might not be considered protected under this law, as we've alluded to. Mm-hmm. So there are parameters about the legality of strikes. For example, here we go. Healthcare workers. Okay, healthcare workers have to give 10 days notice before striking. So maybe you don't have to give that much notice.
But they still have to give that negotiation period. Like, we are going to strike in 10 days if you do not come to the table and like we can make an agreement on our demands.
I don't think that is the case in general.
Okay.
They might do that if if they have enough leverage to make those negotiations, like if the strike would be that impactful, such as for public school teachers. Healthcare workers are different because people's actual lives are on the line. But let's see. For example, one of the cases, I think it was in the 60s that the Supreme Court upheld was a protected strike, was with this aluminum company. And the night workers, there were like 7 night workers, and it was in some northern state in the middle of winter, and their furnace didn't work.
Oh, Jesus. Did people
People didn't freeze to death. They fucking went home.
Yeah. Well, because it's not safe for them to be in that building without heat.
Yeah, the employer tried to fire them, so they were like, no, fuck you. We were leaving work. It was unsafe conditions. We don't have to be there. We left. And the Supreme Court upheld their rights in that case.
So that set precedent.
Yeah, so I think I had it backwards. The healthcare workers have to give 10 days. As, for example, I don't think that applies across the board in the U.S.
10 days notice to be protected by law from termination for striking. But there are some other industries where you could walk off site collectively and declare a strike in that moment and have that be a lawfully protected strike because it's not in that specific working class where it's this is not an emergency responder. So, the rubber nipple factory being shut down for a few weeks is not going to literally mean people are dying today because they walked off the line. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
It also depends on how highly specialized those positions are. Like, for example, teachers. Just the fact that you have to be a teacher in order to teach in a public school, hypothetically, that gives those specific employees more leverage.
Yep.
So that might
what are you
be
gonna
why
do, replace us?
Yeah,
Fuck
that might be
off.
why they gave them that 10-day period to be like, they're going to meet our demands. So we just have to give them a deadline and show them how many of us there are that are willing to not show up to work to teach the kids.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how public school works in every state, but I know that there are employment requirements to be part of a union as a public school educator. Like, I know my sister was required to be in the union. I have friends who are required to be in the union. Not that they wouldn't want to be, because, the union works for you to protect your job. But even when Bill was working at Seward Co-op, they had unionized, and he joined the union. But they were essentially, once the union was approved, it was like, okay, if you are working here in these positions, you are required to join the union, be part of the union.
Yeah, I didn't really go into unions per se because you don't have to be in a union to go on strike.
You do not.
Which I think is also a maybe pervasive misconception. Okay, we'll get to that. Well, yeah, okay, that is my next sentence. You don't have to be part of a union to participate in a protected strike. However, non-union strikers might not have the same legal protections if it's contested whether or not the strike is considered protected activity.
Exactly. So your employer might fire you.
You might lose your you might lose your job.
Not to say don't do it.
No.
Just,
But there is much to be said about joining a union. There's a safety in numbers element to it. Plus, it gives union employees more leverage to get what they want when they are seen as one whole cohesive group.
Yeah.
And not individuals trying to negotiate or bargain for whatever.
And there are unions that are more like general labor, where maybe your employer or you and your employees at your specific place of work don't have a union. But for restaurants, there's a Minnesota-wide restaurants union that employees can vote to join, to have their crew join. So, yeah. There's resources to learn more about unions and how you can support their work.
Yeah. It's not for everyone in every industry. There aren't unions available in many industries. So So having said that, in 2021, there were 87 strikes by non-union workers, according to Cornell's Labor Action Tracker, which accounted for 1/3 of all work stoppages in the U.S.
That's awesome.
So 1/3 of all strikes in 2021 were by non-union workers.
Damn. All right.
So hell yeah.
Way to organize, y'all.
Yeah. The legitimacy of strikes has always been contested and downplayed by employers as well as by the state because, of course, they represent a challenge to their authority, power, and interests. In particular, work stoppages that take place without any warning are often the most damaging. So these are the wildcat strikes. Because that leaves the company totally unprepared to recover. This creates bargaining leverages for the workers. So if it hurts the company enough,
they come to the table.
They'll come to the table, is the theory.
And like the process of striking, a lot of times the striking workers will strike right outside of that location so that if they try to hire like quote unquote scabs who will cross the picket line and pick up that work, you don't want to be seen walking in across the picket line. Like it's not a good situation for you.
It's not a cute look.
It's not a cute look.
And
shame.
But also strikers, they want to draw attention to what they're doing. So they strikes are frequently combined with a demonstration of some sort. What better place to have the demonstration than outside of your place of business to embarrass them into bargaining with you?
100%. You'll see strikers at large protests too with some of their signage just to get eyes on support for their strike.
So those kinds of strikes, the wildcat strikes, right, hit hard but tend to be less organized than, say, a general strike. The decision to call a strike, no matter what flavor of strike it is, does not come easily because union workers risk a loss of income for long periods of time. I don't think there's any expectation that they'll be getting paid throughout a strike.
Your employer might not fire you, but it doesn't mean they have to give you PTO while you're striking, which is part of where paying your union dues, if you are in a union, can be so helpful because you can get union support for day-to-day cost of living during your strike period. If your union is robust enough to have resources like that.
Yeah. But they also risk the permanent loss of their jobs, especially when replacement workers, scabs hired to continue operations during the strike, stay on as permanent employees. So it can be complicated. Helps if your union rep knows what they're doing in a legal sense to make sure that all you're doing is protected activity. So strikes look a little bit different around the world, as you would know if you've ever been to Greece, France.
Oh my God. The farm workers hauling all their fucking equipment like right into Paris.
Oh my God.
Je t'aime. The French know how to fucking do collective action.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Strikes by Japanese unions are not intended to halt production for long periods of time. Instead, they're seen as demonstrations of solidarity. They just do it every once in a while to be like, we're over here. Love you. Japan.
I know. Japanese culture is so fascinating.
I know. There is no right to strike in the United Kingdom, but across Europe more broadly, they fucking love to strike. So back to the French, they're constantly striking.
Constantly. And the Italians.
Constantly. France has had a rail strike every year for 72 years since 1947.
In Italy, we dealt with that, where it's like, yep, this is a week where the rail workers are on strike, so we're taking alternative routes. Like, everyone understands it.
Yep.
Supports it, navigates around it, and they know it's coming.
That happened when we were in Chile visiting my sister. She had to, there was a strike announced, not too far ahead of time, and it was the day we were supposed to be taking a plane up to the desert, and she had to go to the travel place at the mall, and there was a huge line. It took 6 hours to get a different flight because everyone was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just wasn't that big of a deal because it happened all the time. I was stressed. But yeah, so France's rail strike, it's kind of like it's kind of a cultural thing for France to be so strike happy because modern France was built on revolt, the French Revolution. They don't trust their politicians. They question government action. Like they're very, they question authority and they hold their officials to account.
Yeah.
And they love like lighting fires and being out in the streets and stuff.
Fuck yeah.
And having said that, only about 8% of French workers belonged to a union in 2015.
That's
so this
interesting.
is all
It's just so
independent.
Yeah.
It's just part of their culture.
It's ingrained in their culture. Yeah. So they don't
It's like they're one big union.
That's really cool.
Belgium strikes a lot too. And the Greek are pretty casual about general strikes. They just do them every once in a while. They last a day or two. They give at least 10 days notice. But it's more of like a, we're going to strike.
Well, and maybe it is more a show of solidarity in some of those cases.
Well, I'm sure they have their reasons.
Oh,
it would be easier
absolutely.
not to, but they just do it so consistently, and it's just a normal part of their culture. So it's kind of fascinating. Speaking of international trends, there was a report from the School of Industry and Labor Relations at Cornell University that looked at 6 countries' strikes during the year of 2022. So those 6 countries are Brazil, Chile, China, Italy, Turkey, and the United States. So at first glance, seemingly a pretty random selection. These 6 countries comprise 27% of the world's population and 48% of the world GDP.
Okay.
And they were chosen because the researchers say that they represent, quote, an important contribution to understanding strikes from a comparative and international perspective.
Got it.
So here were some of their findings. Italy is the most strike-prone country of those 6, followed by Chile. China's data should be considered as a significant undercount since the country is very large and strike activity is highly censored because
They
they're
don't have
not
legal
allowed
protections.
to do it. Yeah. Across the 6 countries, labor actions in the education industry comprise 23% of the strikes, followed by transportation and storage at 19% and manufacturing at 13%. So it was mostly teachers and students, I guess.
Yeah.
Education industry. Percentages of strikes organized by trade unions. So union strikes.
Yep.
In Chile, that was 95%.
So lots of people are in unions in Chile is what that indicates. Okay.
Yep. Same as in Brazil at 89%. Italy was at 88%. The U.S. was at 69%,
Nice.
which matches pretty closely to the 1/3 of strikes
Yep.
that were non-union organized.
Being independent or wildcat.
Turkey at 42% and China at 0% because
Yeah. But again, doesn't mean people didn't strike. It means that the government doesn't recognize their right to strike, and so they're not taking data on it.
they're not calling it a strike. They're calling it
Protest, civil unrest.
uprising, rioting. They quit,
Yeah.
whatever.
Which are tactics that are used here. Just because we have legal protections to strike in our country does not mean that we are not as guilty as other places of demonizing and weaponizing and like crying wolf about the violence of striking and protest and
Well, it's
organized
socialism,
action.
and
Yeah.
that's a scary word.
right.
God. Strikes in the U.S. last an average of 13.7 days, which is longer than in the other countries. In the other 5 countries.
Oh,
so
it takes us longer for fucking needs to be met. Who knew?
2 weeks, that's a long time. And that's just the
Yeah.
average.
That's often like more or about exactly how much anyone with decent benefits will get in PTO in a given year.
Yeah.
So doing
It's
that
risky.
all at once with no pay, I understand why it's hard for people to make the decision to strike. I would have a very hard time not working. I'd be in big trouble really quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a scary thing. It takes a lot of bravery, and that's why unions and just collective action in general is really crucial when the economy is really volatile. Nobody can afford to lose any of their income. Okay, so let's dive into the history a little bit of striking. The use of the English word strike to describe a work protest was first seen in 1768 when sailors who were in support of demonstrations in London struck or removed the top gallant sails of the merchant ships in the port, thus crippling the ships.
Okay.
They couldn't sail in or out. Well, I guess out. They couldn't do any commerce. They're merchant ships. Mm-hmm. So the sailors would protest basically these economic, whatever their spiel was at the time, by taking the sails off the ships. Mm-hmm. Striking them. You know when you strike a set in theater?
Yep.
So that's where that comes from. Mm-hmm. Break it down. But people have been striking for a long time. The first historically certain account of strike action was in ancient Egypt.
Oh, geez. Okay.
There's a specific date, November 14th of 1152 BCE. I don't know where that date fucking comes from, but okay.
I am way too high to even fathom when that was. Wow.
It was a really long time ago. And that's
really
when
fucking long time ago.
Artisans of the royal necropolis at Deir el Medina walked off their jobs in protest at the failure of the government of Ramses III to pay their wages on time and in full.
I feel like that's the guy they were like digging up in The Mummy.
Yeah, probably.
What the fuck?
So like all of his dudes in his palace were just like, hey, where's my fucking paycheck?
We're not
You
doing
shorted
this.
me last month.
My direct deposit has not shown up yet.
Look, I get
The
a thumbs
fuck?
up again.
God, you always get the thumbs up and I never get it.
It's only when I'm doing my thumb weird. I don't know. So the royal government ended the strike by raising the artisans' wages. So that totally worked.
Yeah.
The Talmud contains records of bakers who prepared the bread for the altar. They went on strike. Not sure why, but that's
I think it's implied why. Their working conditions and their pay were not sufficient.
It's got to be one of those two things.
You're asking us too much.
Yeah.
These fucking...
I am baking so much unleavened bread. This is ridiculous. That altar is teeming with bread.
These
and you
fucking
haven't paid me
altars have gotten
dime.
out of control. I'm broke as shit. I can't do this.
I can't even eat that bread.
No. Between
Between the 5th and 3rd centuries BCE, you'll love this too, Rome's plebeian citizens, so like the general everyday folk, the plebes, they would literally just abandon the city en masse to let the ruling class families just deal with their own shit.
Yeah, fuck
you.
you.
Deal with it.
Imagine if you didn't have us plebes to do all your fucking crap for you that you don't want to do. Bye, bitch.
Bye, bitch.
Deal with it on your own. See how you like it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then they're like, fine, we'll give you an extra crust of bread. Please come back.
So this was called the cessatio plebis, or the withdrawal of the commoners. This trend started when people would see their friends and neighbors come back from like wars and battles. And for any number of reasons, they were in debt. Like the specific example that I read was like a general came back from war, but the enemies had like burned his house down and taken all of his possessions. Fuck. So he had to take out loans to survive, to support his family. Mm-hmm. But the debt collectors, the money lenders were so cruel that they would, they'd have exceedingly high interest rates. Mm-hmm. And then they would treat these borrowers horribly. Sometimes these people would be taken into slavery or put in jail if they were in like so much debt.
Yeah.
So then then all their friends, all the regular people were like, that's really fucked. And all the money lenders are the upper class. Mm-hmm. And so they left the city.
Bye.
They went to this
Hi, I'm calling in sick with cessatio plebis. I can't make it into work today. I have a really bad case of cessatio plebis.
I have to go with all of my friends to this mountain like 3 miles away where they built like a tent city where we can just like camp out and have bonfires and sing songs till you agree to our terms. So.
And you agreeing to our terms is the only treatment for Secessio Plebis. So get cracking.
Pretty much.
I'm obsessed. I'm Obsessio Plebis.
Yep, I'm Obsessio Plebis. Striking became more common during the Industrial Revolution. For the first time in history, large numbers of people were members of the industrial working class. They lived in both cities and towns. They were exchanging their labor for payment. Mm-hmm. And that was like this new normal, broadly normalized system that previously it might have been like, for shoes or for some leather or for some food or,
Sure. But now it's
or
like,
money.
No.
But now it's like
paid, highly skilled labor.
Yes. Now we're developing specific industries that are specialized with specific workers and it's money across the board for everyone.
No, we can't do that ad just for the use or the trial use of your product. P-ball.
P-ball.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Ball.
R.I.P. Ball.
I don't think they're still around. Don't email me.
I don't think so.
I'm going to Google them. Continue.
If they are, you're welcome for the free ad.
We were kind of mean.
Well, we said their name.
It still exists, and it still looks like a ball gag for your crotch. My God.
I tried it.
It's $100. Oh my God. Anyway, continue.
Okay. So, Industrial Revolution, shit was getting real pretty quickly. But between 1839 and 1857, a working class movement called Chartism exploded in the United Kingdom.
I'm
What are you
sorry.
doing with your mouth?
But I'm on the P-ball website.
You need to get off the P-ball website.
Their model
just send me the link.
Is Jennifer Aniston. I'm taking a screenshot. They have
joking?
her on the website using the P-ball. Not between her legs, though. I bet she was like, I draw the line. I will not be photographed with that thing between my legs. She was like, absolutely. You could not pay me enough. So she's just holding it between her hands. It's a beautiful picture. She looks so golden.
She looks good in everything.
I know. But
oh my God.
I can hear that conversation with her agent playing out in my head right now.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you want me to do?
They want me to put it where? Call Gwyneth. She'll do it.
That bitch will do anything.
She loves to draw attention to her crotch.
This candle smells like my vagina.
Ew. I've smelled that candle. It's not great. And if anyone's vagina smells like that,
go to the doctor.
I don't know what to tell you.
It's time for a smear. It's time for a smear.
I think you might have a case of Secessio Plebis. If it's moving, it's crabs.
And that's not to say that vaginal odor isn't completely normal, but this was a specific
But if
smell.
it smells like that candle,
it's not a good sign.
It's not a natural odor.
No,
I'll tell you that.
No.
It ain't natural. It smelled like the hand soaps that come in the shape of seashells.
Ew.
Plus like Windex.
Oh.
Nothing about it was natural.
Oh, that's so scary. I hate that.
And it was like $80.
Just have like a robot pussy? Gwyneth, call us. We have questions.
Yeah. Get me, Gwyneth.
Gwyneth Paltrow can email us. She's the only one.
So Chartism got its name from the People's Charter of 1838 and was a list of 6 reforms to make the political system more democratic. So things like anonymous voting, fair representation, regular elections, and equal constituencies.
I'm kind of here for not anonymous voting. No, you have to say it with your whole chest, bitch.
Yeah.
Who are you fucking voting for?
That's true. That's very true.
I have a right to know.
Well, I think on a more local level specifically, or especially, there was a retaliation issue.
No, I do respect anonymous voting and think that that is a valuable right for us to have.
I think in a presidential election, though.
Well, there are genuine concerns about, you hear about stories of domestic violence where a partner forces or tries to force a spouse to vote in alignment
to make
with
that whole damn commercial.
Yeah.
But basically, don't be afraid of your Trump husband.
Right. It's, I mean, yeah, I get there's lots of reasons why we have them. I was making a joke. I don't actually think we should not have anonymous voting. But
I can see both sides. Well, okay, so that was the People's Charter. People wanted fair governance because most working people depended on single industries. You know, you're either in coal or sewing or...
And it's all you know.
Whatever.
And it's usually generational. Like, that's all your family has ever done. You have not had any additional education outside of that.
Yeah, you're not going
Destiny.
to switch.
You can't just get another job. You don't have that industry and you're fucked.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're painting with a wide brush, but for the most part...
But way back in the day, that was a very real thing.
So these working people were also subject to major swings and volatility in economic activity. So if their industry goes down or even like stalls out a little bit, which they all did kind of frequently, that was a very scary thing. So while the concept of the People's Charter basically started as demands for male suffrage, meaning all men over the age of 21 had a right to vote, because that was one of the things on their charter. That was kind of the primary. It had to do with men being able to have a fair vote and also getting rid of political corruption. It also attracted, like I said earlier, all of this is political.
Right.
Everything stems from politics. So when you start with something as wide as politics, you can narrow it down and attract a lot of support for economic reasons, as is what happened here, such as opposing wage cuts and unemployment. So by 1842, the demand for fairer wages and conditions across many industries finally exploded into the first modern general strike.
Okay.
After the second Chartist petition was presented to Parliament in April 1842 and rejected, the strike began in the coal mines of Staffordshire and soon spread through Britain, affecting factories, cotton mills in Lancashire, and coal mines from Dundee to South Wales and Cornwall.
And Peniston.
Oh, probably.
They were affected the most.
Peniston is always affected. These strikes weren't spontaneous or particularly mutinous because their agenda was to win concessions, not just like act out and cause a scene.
Right.
So it was very organized and it was very intentional. They knew exactly what they wanted and everyone is going to stop working. As much as half of the industrial workforce, which at the time was over 500,000 men, were on strike at once at its peak.
Damn.
So people were really seeing in real time how powerful the working class was. Because it's hard to see when you spend your whole day under your boss's thumb in a dark factory.
Under his eye.
2 large general strikes occurred in Belgium in 1893 and 1902 in support of universal manhood suffrage.
Yeah, they suffer so much.
The loneliness epidemic. But really just men being able to vote. A large-scale strike took place in Sweden in 1902 over similar issues and was followed by one in Italy in 1904 protesting the use of soldiers as strikebreakers. The government would send in conscripted soldiers to just take their places.
Yeah.
A general strike in Berlin in 1920 thwarted a right-wing takeover of the German government.
Damn.
So that was probably helpful. Not in the long run, but at least for then.
For a few years, maybe.
Yeah. But they were fighting against it when they first saw this shit growing.
Mm-hmm.
In some Asian and African countries, trade unions allied with independence movements often resorted to general strikes as a means of political protest during colonial rule.
Mm-hmm.
Another movement cropped up in France around 1900, which was called syndicalism, which advocates direct action by the working class to abolish the capitalist order, including the state, and to establish in its place a social order based on workers organized in production units. Boom. I don't totally understand the last part, but I loved the first part. Mm-hmm. They believed that workers could achieve a social revolution by using a general strike to directly overthrow the owners of industry, which sounds real good right about now.
I know. It really fucking does. And like, considering, I know this is France, but considering how deeply ingrained in Italian culture striking is, the fact that fucking Jeff Bezos got married in Italy. And they did protest, locals did protest enough that he had to move the location of his wedding. And I commend them for doing that. But like, shame on y'all who went to that fucking, what is it, dog and pony show. So fucking stupid.
I'm disappointed in Sydney Sweeney, honestly.
I mean, whatever.
For all the times I've defended her boobs and watched Euphoria.
I mean, fucking
they're all
alleged
the same.
Climate activist Leo DiCaprio was there.
Yeah, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Y'all are fucking losing it. Your masks are slipping.
Everything is an illusion. Everyone is lying. Nothing that we think is true is true.
Mm-mm. No one with that much wealth is advocating for you or gives a fuck about you, no matter how much they may have in the past. They just don't.
It's wild. The psychology of like getting rich.
Oh, God. It really turns people into fucking dog shit.
Or just being rich. I don't know. So, of course, 4 minutes before we were about to record this episode, I was looking at TikTok and I was served up a video about a strike that happened in Colorado that was ended in not great.
Oh,
so
fuck.
I had to tell you about it.
Okay.
So
when was this?
It was in it started in 1913 in Colorado.
Okay.
So about 10,000 miners under the direction. Oh, by the way, since I had 4 minutes to copy and paste this into my notes, this is all from my boyfriend, Encyclopedia Britannica.
Got it. Okay.
Who does use at least one word that I don't know what it means.
Oh,
so that's how you know I did not write this.
Let's try and figure it out.
You'll know it when you hear it. About 10,000 miners under the direction of the United Mine Workers of America, or the UMWA, had been on strike since September 13th, 1913. They were protesting low pay and abysmal working conditions in the coal fields of Colorado. Evicted from the company towns by the operators of industrialist John D. Rockefeller's Colorado Fuel and Iron Company.
Yikes. The fucking Rockefellers.
So Rockefeller had this company, Colorado Fuel and Iron. They built a company town for all of these coal miners to just live in. So when they when they went on strike, the company was just like, okay, you're out, bye.
Oof.
So they evicted them out of this town. The striking miners constructed tent colonies, like in the area, the largest of which housed about 1,200 strikers in Ludlow, Colorado.
Oh my God.
The striking miners were a polyglot of ethnicities, including a large number of Greeks and Italians.
Is polyglot the word?
No, I did know what polyglot meant.
I mean, it's got to mean like a combination, a hodgepodge, a melting pot.
Yeah. A bunch of different people. Yeah, a mélange.
A mélange.
Tensions ran high between the armed strikers and the company-hired detectives because, of course, the company had a lot of money. They were in there trying to get information and the strike, whatever.
Delegitimize the strike, dox people, intimidate people. A lot of investigation is just intimidation. Just the act of being investigated is a tactic.
The Colorado National Guard, which had been deployed to reduce violence, that line, that old chestnut, favored the operators by escorting the scabs, the strike breakers, to the mines and overlooking the violent actions of the detectives. Because they were in there intimidating people, beating people up, trying to stir shit up. Labor activist Mary Mother Jones,
Okay.
led a campaign to bring national attention to the strike. So that was started in September of 1913. Now we're in April of 1914. The cost of maintaining the troops, the National Guard troops, led to a reduction in the National Guard presence, resulting in increased violence. On Sunday, April 19th, 1914, the National Guard encircled the Ludlow camp and deployed a machine gun on a bluff overlooking the strikers.
Oh my God. Just opened fire.
Yes.
The fuck?
Although no one knows exactly what instigated the violence, some accounts suggest that officers of the National Guard demanded that the miners turn over at least one individual, possibly a striker or even a hostage that they were holding. We don't know. We don't know
the context around, who that person was or why they were in there.
Or even if that was the reason.
Right.
Or even the suggested reason, because there was no real reason.
Well, and it's the fucking state. They're always lying to justify violence. That's absolutely what it's been since day one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so whether or not there was one individual or whatever.
Not. And even if there fucking was, you're going to open fire with a machine gun on a kettled in group of people?
1,200 people. These were the miners and their families. It wasn't just miners.
Fuck. I mean, that's like some Tiananmen Square shit.
Absolutely. So the miners refused, allegedly, to hand over this alleged individual. The National Guard then opened fire on the camp, initiating a pitched battle that lasted throughout the day. 3 of the striking leaders, including labor organizer Louis Ticas, was captured and killed by the National Guard.
Oh my God.
Anecdotal evidence suggests that Ticas had been lured out to discuss a truce, and they killed him.
Jesus.
As the strikers ran out of ammunition, they retreated from the camp into the surrounding countryside. Women and children, hiding from the bullets that strafed the camp. Strafed.
Oh,
was the word I didn't know. Strafed.
Struck, grazed.
To strafe is to attack repeatedly with bombs or machine gun fire from low-flying aircraft.
Well, that is
that
specific.
Boyfriend of mine, he's so smart.
He knows everything. He's a fucking genius.
He uses words like strafed. Anyway, the women and children hiding from the bullets that strafed the camp. Oh,
Jesus fucking Christ.
Huddled in cellars that had been dug underneath their tents. In the evening, the National Guard troops soaked the tents with kerosene and set them on fire.
This is 1913?
14.
Holy shit. 3 years before Helen.
In Colorado.
BH.
Yeah. In one cellar, 11 children and 2 women were found burned and suffocated. In all, 25 people were killed during the Ludlow Massacre, 3 of whom were National Guard troops. In retaliation for the massacre, miners attacked anti-union town officials, strike bearers, and the mines, taking control of an area about 50 miles long and 5 miles wide. As many as 50 people died during the reaction to the Ludlow Massacre.
Oh, God.
So like 75 people have died so far.
Holy shit.
Fearing further escalation of violence, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson sent in federal troops to restore order. Unlike the National Guard, the federal troops were impartial, so they weren't licking the boots of the mine owners.
Mm-hmm. Not that they're not also bootlickers, but they were there to just shut the whole thing down.
They were shutting the whole thing down. So they were impartial and kept strike bearers out of the coal mines. Mm-hmm. The strike ended on December 10th, 1914, well over a year after it started.
Holy shit.
While the workers got little in the way of tangible benefits from their strike, the UMWA, the workers' union, gained 4,000 new members.
I bet. So like, we never want this fucking shit to happen again. We need support.
Well, Congress held hearings but took no concrete actions.
Oh, of course not.
The trials of more than 400 miners dragged on until 1920, but none of them were convicted.
No, because they knew that they wouldn't be. They just wanted to fucking bleed them dry in court.
Mm-hmm. 12 National Guardsmen were exonerated before a court-martial. Determined to undercut unions and avoid another violent strike, Rockefeller instituted a system of company-sponsored unions as an alternative to the UMWA.
Of course he did.
A company-sponsored union. And I'm sure that the 1935 passage of the National Labor Act, I'm sure that companies can't form unions was in response to this Rockefeller shit. Because that act of 1935 was like strongly opposed by the rich Republicans.
Yeah.
So, the looming U.S. general strike is kind of what inspired this topic. Studies have shown, as you may have heard, that if 3.5% of the population, which is 11 million Americans, go on strike or otherwise demonstrate in an impactful way, change can be made. And that 3.5% is just out of studies of previous strikes, protests, demonstrations.
Yeah.
So the main website that I found for information is generalstrikeus.com. And their mission statement on their website is, "We voted, we've protested, and still they ignore us. Our government refuses to meet our basic needs while the billionaire class hoards wealth and power. We can't afford to wait any longer. Our labor is our greatest strength, and if we strike together, we can make real change."
Yes. And there are ways to support unions, even as a non-union member. So if you go to aflcio.org, they list a ton of different unions that do accept labor movement relief donations.
And can't you sponsor a striker?
I think so.
Yeah, there's lots of things you can do if you yourself can't strike or it wouldn't be impactful. There are lots of other options, but I think a general strike is coming. At least I hope it's coming. So if this is your first time kind of hearing about that idea, check that out online. Go follow these different accounts on social media to stay updated. And I think their plan, at least with the General Strike US people, is once they have 11 million people committed or who have signed their strike card, then it's go time. So
sign up.
We'll keep an eye on it.
I love it.
Yeah, that's my seg.
All right. Well, wow, that was horrifying.
Yeah, that was kind of a lot.
Let's take a quick break for you to eat a Cheez-It. We can hear a word from our sponsors, and then we will finish up with my segment today.
Let's do it.
All right.
I've recently started a different routine in my day. I am exercising regularly, which means I have to get up in the morning and start my day and leave the house. And that means, eating something or getting some sort of nutrients in my body before 9 a.m. Which
it's hard to do.
It is hard to do. And when we got some samples from Mudwater, I was like, this might be perfect. And believe you me, it is. Because I am not a coffee person, but I like a warm, flavorful morning beverage.
Yes.
And Mudwater with that turmeric, the adaptogenic mushrooms, and I put in a little bit of almond milk in there. It helps with brain fog. It helps me wake up in the morning. And it's just a really nice part of my newly revised morning routine.
Yeah, we're definitely a coffee household, but I have a hard time drinking the coffee that my husband makes because he makes it really, really, really strong.
Yeah.
And I get the jitters, I'll get the afternoon crash, and I just, we don't need that. You can make yourself a refreshing, feel-good beverage boost that helps you stay balanced without all of that crashing, jittery nastiness when you hit the midday. And every single ingredient in Mudwater's products are 100% USDA certified organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher. My fave is that there's also 0 sugar and no sweeteners added. So it's not gonna give me a massive diabetic spike right away in the morning. It's just gonna get me started. I like to do in the summer, I like to do cold over ice. So I'll mix it with a little bit of water, and then I do the same as you. I top it off with almond milk, use my frother to blend it all together. OMG. It is like going to the coffee shop in the morning. It's so luxurious. And the best part, like I said, about Mudwater is that it provides sustained energy without the spikes and crash of traditional coffee. And if you just want a nice healthy boost in the morning without all the caffeine, you can also get caffeine-free blends from Mudwater. I can't recommend their matcha starter kit enough. I'm a matcha girly.
Oh, yeah.
This is a must try. It is the perfect way to try out clean energy with matcha's calming focus boost. Honestly, one sip and you're like, I'm dancing barefoot in the grass. I'm beachside, baby.
Ready to make the switch to cleaner energy? Head to mudwater.com and grab your starter kit today. Right now, our listeners get an exclusive deal up to 43% off your entire order, plus free shipping and a free rechargeable frother when you use code GALS. That's right, up to 43% off with code GALS at mudwtr.com. After your purchase, they'll ask how you found them. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. Keep your energy natural and refreshing all year long with Mudwater, because life's too short for anything less than clean, delicious energy.
Y'all know Lucy's favorite thing is a horrifying fun fact.
Always.
And we've got one for you. Traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat.
Yum. Sleep tight.
No. And as if that wasn't like a compelling enough reason to switch out your sheets, know that sleeping on bacteria is going to lead to things like acne, aggravating your allergies, stuffy noses, on top of it just being gross. Please stop. But Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth and require up to 3 times less laundry.
I'm always down for less laundry. These sheets are infused with silver, that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. They're not going to reek after a couple of days. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And something that helps them not reek and feel gross is their temperature regulating properties that give you better quality sleep. This silver-infused fabric that was, by the way, inspired by NASA, Women in STEM. Miracle Made sheets are thermo-regulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather. So you get better quality sleep, and that improves your quality of life overall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like Amanda said, stop sleeping on bacteria. It's gross. It can clog your pores, causing breakouts, acne. You can sleep clean with Miracle. These sheets are so soft and smooth. I love how they feel. They're luxuriously comfortable without that high price tag of other actual luxury brands.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So get on it.
Yeah, what are you waiting for? Upgrade your sleep as the weather heats up. Go to trymiracle.com/gals to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code GALS at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/gals and use the code GALS to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/gals to treat yourself. And thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
So I've got 2 cats. Amanda's got 2 cats. And that's just double the cuddles, double the love, but also double the litter box duty, which is not my favorite thing. But Pretty Litter makes things so much easier. Not only does it control odors and it lasts longer than any other litter that I've tried, especially heavy, dense clay litter. Ugh.
Yeah. Goodbye.
But it also keeps me ahead of health issues because their color-changing crystals actually indicate any kind of fluctuations in the contents of our cat's urine. And because they're cats, they're not going to come out and tell you, hey, my kidneys kind of hurt.
Right.
But you can see the color changing crystals will indicate any potential health problems in your kitty cats.
It's so helpful. I have actually helped rehome 2 stray cats in my neighborhood this year. And when I brought them inside, sequestered to the den, and made them their own little litter box with Pretty Litter so that I could get them to the vet, get them checked for a chip, get them checked for basic health problems before finding them a new home. It was so useful. when I brought them into the vet to be like, hey, I use Pretty Litter. I did notice that their urine was a little bit blue. It's possible that they have a UTI. And they were like, oh, that's great to know. We'll make sure to take a urine sample. Like, it's just so nice to go to your vet. You're already going. Why not give them all the information that you possibly can, or get maybe a hint from your litter that, oh, it's time to take my little sweet baby into the vet. So yeah, Pretty Litter helps monitor your cat's health. It's going to detect abnormalities in your cat's urine by testing acidity and alkalinity levels and the visible presence of blood. And then they have this really useful chart that will go over the colors that the urine can turn and what those colors could potentially indicate. So you can bring that information to your vet and say, hey, can we just double check on this? Pretty Litter also ships free right to your door. So you're not lugging heavy bags and you're not dealing with like last minute pet store runs. You can set it and forget it. And this is so low dust and it's much lighter weight. Like you said, it's not like that heavy clay, dusty, gnarly litter. It's formulated with silica gel crystals that are safe for cats and people alike. It has advanced odor control, which means your home smells less like a cat box and more like your house, not just your cat's house. And it has this ultra absorbent formula that uses less material than clay litter. So you're also reducing waste and you're saving money. Like Lucy said, that cat litter is lasting you longer because it's just better quality. It's absorbing better. So you don't have to use so much of it for their little piddles.
Right now, save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy at prettylitter.com/gals. That's prettylitter.com/gals to save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy. prettylitter.com/gals. Pretty Litter cannot detect every feline health issue or prevent or diagnose diseases. A diagnosis can only come from a licensed veterinarian. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details.
Are you ready for my case?
Yes.
So, with the news of the sanitation strike in Philly, and it is growing, it felt pertinent to go in this direction. And I know we learned about this like in school, like American history, but I feel like, I mean, obviously we have to question, it's good to review through an adult lens and maybe a little bit more outside of the whitewashing of like a public school curriculum or really any school curriculum that's not like catered directly to Black education. So I thought there was so much I feel like I didn't know. And so I was very interested because I just looked up like, you know, some of the most impactful like historical strikes. So this is the Memphis sanitation workers strike of 1968.
I came across this,
Yes.
but I saw you were covering it, so I didn't read about it.
Yeah, and this was not just a local labor dispute because it also evolved and became a powerful symbol of the broader civil rights movement's fight for economic justice and human dignity. And it was the last collective action, the last action for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh.
Like this was going on
Memphis.
when he was assassinated.
Oh.
And he had recently traveled to join the movement, to support the movement.
Damn.
So the roots of the Memphis sanitation strike were deep. They were stemming from longstanding tensions between predominantly Black sanitation workers. It was Black and brown people, 10 to 1 who were being employed in the job of sanitation. And that is by design because it's oftentimes these very like labor intensive and undesirable positions that are some of the few that would and still will hire people of color. So there were tensions growing between sanitation workers and their bosses, and government leaders who were all white. It's white Memphis city officials that run the sanitation department. So for years, Black garbage collectors were forced to work long hours for meager wages, sometimes as low as 65 cents per hour, which that time would have been like, what, almost like $8 or $9 an hour, like just not a livable wage at all. Were not given overtime pay, and this led many to rely on welfare and food stamps to feed their families while working full time for the city. So like, if this sounds familiar,
Yep.
it should, because things never fucking change. They faced dangerous working conditions and were not allowed to form unions, in no small part because black workers were treated worse and paid less than their white counterparts simply due to their race, despite outnumbering white sanitation workers. So obviously white management did not want these folks to organize under the protection of a union and fuck up their system of exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
Conditions worsened significantly when Henry Loeb became mayor in January of 1968, and he refused to address dilapidated trucks or provide overtime pay for late night shifts. And that's not a surprise. And I think was a compelling reason that he was elected, especially because of like white, officials and local business owners who just wanted
someone
sanitation
brutal.
problem to go away without actually giving rights to the predominantly black employees.
Yep.
And
shut it down.
Loeb was like the perfect candidate for that. His track record was pretty brutal. He had also served previously as the head of the sanitation division, so he knew what was going on there. He was the elected public works commissioner before he'd become mayor. So during his tenure, he oversaw grueling work conditions, including no city-issued uniforms, no restrooms.
What?
And no grievance procedure. So no way for employees to file any kind of complaints for the conditions that they were dealing with. And then there were numerous occasions where employees were not paid at all or underpaid. And again, had no HR department, nowhere to go.
Oh my God.
To say, hey, we didn't get our full paycheck, or hey, I didn't get a paycheck at all.
Wow.
No way to file about that. The breaking point arrived on February 1st, 1968, when two sanitation workers, Eckel Cole and Robert Walker, were horrifically crushed to death by a malfunctioning garbage truck.
I was going to say, that is a dangerous job. It's stinky and gross, and it's really dangerous.
Yeah, the trash compactor is not to be fucked with, and this was not functioning properly. And so from what I can understand, it was raining, and the compactor was in an upright position that provided a little bit of canopy cover.
Oh my God.
And so between stops, they would like get a break from the rain under the canopy cover, whether up on the truck or down
a little bit in
on the ground. And it, without anyone trying to activate it, the compactor malfunctioned or went down and it crushed them.
Oh God, both of them.
Yep. And this gruesome incident was met with little to no support from the city, who flat out refused to offer compensation to their families, even though it was their fucking fault for not making the budget adjustments necessary to repair and update the dangerous equipment that these people were using day in and day out. And they especially should have fucking made the necessary budget adjustments to upgrade this equipment, because two other men had died in this same way 4 years earlier in 1964.
In the same truck?
I don't know if it was the same truck, but it was a malfunctioning
oh my Lord
garbage compactor.
Jesus Christ.
So these are now the fourth people we know in the last 4 years of this stretch of time who died because of this equipment. So, and after those deaths, the 1964 deaths, the city had still refused to replace the defective equipment. And then two more people died 4 years later. So obviously this ignited outrage amongst the workers. In the days to come, fewer and fewer employees were reporting for work. So they were all beginning to join in a strike effort. And within little more than a week, on February 12th, 1968, about 1,300 black men from the Memphis Department of Public Works refused to report to work, unanimously deciding to strike after a union meeting.
So when you say 1,300 black men, were the people who were joining this strike sort of separated along racial lines? Like it was, the Hispanic guys on this side, the black guys on this side. It was the black guys that decided to strike, or was it just mostly black men?
At first, well, it's a combination of factors. It was predominantly black men who had these jobs in sanitation. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there were also some brown folks, and there were definitely some white folks, but it was the vast majority of the people working these jobs at this time were black men. And the men who had been killed on the job were also black men.
Okay.
And so they really started the strike, and it was such a massive amount of people because that was essentially the entire city's sanitation on the ground sanitation department. It was almost all black men operating these trucks, lifting all this garbage off the street, like doing the really hard, stinky labor job.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were pointing out that they were all black men and that was like important to the intergroups that were involved.
In the beginning, they were the ones who initiated the strike, and it was like, I'm not sure if brown folks didn't participate. I'm sure they did. But in terms of the breakdown in employment, white people were...
Yeah, it wasn't the white people who were striking.
A, weren't really striking, but B, also weren't working in the conditions that these black folks were working in. So it's like it's split along racial lines just because of the way we segregated black men specifically into these labor positions.
Okay.
So yes, it is significant that 1,300 black men started this strike. That was basically the entire on-the-ground labor force. Mm-hmm. Their demands were clear. They needed higher wages, they needed safer working conditions, and they wanted official recognition of their union, which was Local 1733 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. So AFSCME.
Rolls off the tongue.
The strike immediately drew a complex mix of public opinion and reactions. So that fuck-ass Mayor Loeb was steadfast in his opposition. He refused to recognize the union. He was trying to end the strike without making any concessions. And initially, the Memphis City Council had offered a glimmer of hope to striking workers, voting to recognize the union and recommending a wage increase after a sit-in by these workers. But Mayor Loeb came in and rejected this, essentially had veto power over the city council. So he's like, nope, we're not fucking recognizing the union, and we're sure as shit not raising their wages. Get back to work, or we're just going to fire you. So the workers...
I bet the N-word was thrown around so fucking much in all of these proceedings.
Racism... Oh,
that's
racism,
what it stems from.
Yes. I mean... is the cruelty, the racism, the white supremacy is the point. That's the capitalist monster.
This guy in Memphis in the 60s or whenever it was.
Wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
Wouldn't put it past him. During the civil rights movement...
No, yeah. That man used the hard ER.
I'm sure. So he was basically like, I'm the only one with the authority to recognize the union. The city council can't just fucking vote on that. So fuck all y'all. So the workers continued to up their tactics and gain more attention, which Loeb staunchly criminalized and demonized, creating violence and escalation by deploying police to brutalize striking workers and demonstrators. Again, it's more of the same shit that we see today. More of that shit we saw in Colorado in 1913, 14. Mm-hmm. And the media also supports that by painting specifically black movements, protests, activism, striking as violent. But the violence often begins when the cops are deployed.
Oh, yeah.
And in this particular instance in 1968, and of course, all too often in our current society, police used mace and tear gas, as well as physical violence against peaceful strikers and protesters. This was a peaceful movement. Nobody was doing anything. They just were in the street and refusing to work. In response, 150 local ministers formed an unfortunately nicknamed coalition called the Community on the Move for Equality, and they went by COME.
And it was like a faith-based.
It is. But these were black churches.
Oh, good.
And they're coming out in support of the union. And this was very common, especially during the civil rights movement and especially with, Dr. Martin Luther King, like churches and reverends, like black churches and reverends were very
political.
Very much part of the civil rights movement. Very political. As churches fucking should be, period.
I know, the acronym is just...
But yeah, COME.
It didn't age very well.
COME was led by Reverend James Lawson, a longtime ally of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. COME committed to nonviolent civil disobedience, aiming to fill the jails and draw attention to the workers' plight. By early March, local high school and college students, including nearly a quarter of whom were white, joined the daily marches. So just a reminder that activism on college campuses, that is like such a hub for progressive our progress in like racial justice movements, labor movements, like climate movements, like watch and listen and support these kids because they get involved.
Anti-genocide, etc.
I mean, they have historically been college students, not necessarily the institutions, but have historically been pretty consistently on the fucking right side of history throughout the, activism and different movements that we have endured as a society in America.
We should do a whole episode on student protests.
Yeah, they're very impactful and they're incredibly important.
And in a lot of other countries, such as South America, especially, and we can talk about the Tiananmen Square fucking thing, they can get really rowdy and very powerful.
Yep.
I'll put that on our list. After papacy crimes.
Yeah, great. So workers and their supporters employed a variety of tactics to advocate for their demands, which included higher wages, safer working conditions, and recognition of their union. Their primary tactic was the strike, their refusal to work. This was the central tactic. And initially, like we said, 1,300 Black sanitation workers went on strike. And this was a decision made unanimously by over 700 men at a union meeting. Nice. Everyone who attended the union meeting voted unanimously to strike, and then the additional 4,000 or whatever, 5,000 people who joined hadn't been at the meeting, but were in support of the strike from like day one. And then this is where, the labor movement also becomes even more political because public demonstrations are so important and like these struggles are so intertwined. This was a labor movement, but a labor movement that was intentionally, like the scales were tipped out of their favor because of the racial caste system that required them to work these low-level jobs, and these are the only jobs that they could get, and they're being treated, with subhuman conditions. So that's a racial justice.
It all overlaps, and it's
all
political.
Intertwined. Yes, it's all fucking political. So workers organized and participated in daily marches throughout the city. On March 29th, over 5,000 demonstrators, including Dr. King, participated in a march, even after initial violence after police deployments, with over 200 striking workers continued their daily marches. So we're going to get a little bit deeper into the public marches with Dr. King in a moment here. And when we say violence, it's definitely up for debate how that violence was instigated. But we are going to go over it with just the information that we have. They also made smart use of symbolic messaging. So if you've ever heard of or seen, emblematic protest, merchandise or signage or, historical photographs or branding that reads, "I am a man," that was started. Like that famous quote was started as part of this movement. This slogan
that was very powerful.
Yes. This slogan served as a rallying cry, emphasizing their fight for equality, dignity, and for the city that employed them to see them as human beings worthy of protection and fair pay. Sit-ins were very common. Workers and their supporters engaged in sit-ins, one of which involved several hundred people and pressured the city council to vote for union recognition and wage increases. So they would sit in at the government building and essentially halt any progress on anything that needed a vote until they would give them the floor to be heard.
Wow.
Community and organizational support was and remains so important to these movements. The workers garnered support from various groups and leaders, including the local branch of the NAACP, who passed a resolution supporting the strike. Obviously, local ministers forming CUM. And then just the community, especially high school and college students. And again, nearly a quarter of whom were white, which isn't giving us a whole lot. But this was, there were people across racial lines that supported the civil rights movement and the labor movements as part of the civil rights movement. So they would participate alongside garbage workers in daily marches and staging large-scale walkouts at their schools. Community support spread beyond Memphis, with national civil rights leaders, including Roy Wilkins and Bayard Rustin, traveling to Memphis to rally the sanitation workers. And of course, the support from Dr. King drew a lot of attention to the movement when he came to speak, he drew massive crowds. There was at least one where he drew an estimated 25,000 people at an indoor demonstration where he was the speaker. And it has since been described as the largest indoor gathering of the civil rights movement, like that the civil rights movement had ever seen. To pack that many people into one space indoors is massive. So Dr. King praised their unity and encouraged a citywide work stoppage, pledging to return to lead a protest. He did return to Memphis on March 28th to lead a march with Reverend Lawson. However, the peaceful demonstration took a tragic turn when a small number of participants allegedly took part in looting local businesses. And this is a really common dog whistle for
looting.
Yep. And that's not to say that it doesn't happen. And it is not compelling enough, in my opinion, because property is insured and it's people over property always, to completely delegitimize an entire movement because of the possibility of a couple of bad actors. And similarly to you, in your case, it's also something that cops will just say, whether they saw it happen or not, so that they can deploy more violent means against movements like this.
Like Umbrella Man.
Exactly. So this alleged looting activated a heavy police response, because cops love to respond to reports of shit like looting, because then it justifies their excessive use of force to ramp up the violence and chaos and make the protesters look like the aggressors.
Light them up.
Yep. So the cops shot and killed Larry Payne, a 16-year-old black child.
Oh my God.
While the crowd was dispersing in the aftermath, police followed demonstrators who had taken refuge in the Claiborne Temple, which is a haven and assembly point for social, cultural, spiritual, and political expressions for Memphis's black community. That's like a historic landmark at this point. They followed them in there and kettled them inside of the church and deployed tear gas and started clubbing people inside of the sanctuary.
Oh my God.
And there are families, children. I mean, it wouldn't matter if it was just all men either. Like the violence that they just didn't fucking care. And I also wanted to take this opportunity to note that the Claiborne Temple did suffer a fire in April of this year, of 2025. They are seeking community support for their reconstruction, and you can and should support that effort at claiborne.org. That's CLAYBORN.org. That's a very important historical landmark, and it has deep significance to the black community, and we should make sure that they can repair it properly. So, deeply troubled by the violent outbreak, Dr. King was whisked away and considered not coming back. Which I get. He did come back, but outside critics, aka white people in the media, were blaming Dr. King for the violence. And Dr. King stated that he was unaware of alleged divisions within the community. He said, it may have been, and I don't know, this group of people. There was like a Black Power youth group called the Invaders. They were accused of instigating the violence. And Dr. King's like, I don't know who these kids are, but like everyone is welcome here. But that doesn't mean I knew that this was going to happen. But despite the personal threats and his own, depression around all of this, Dr. King did decide that it was crucial to return to Memphis to ensure the nonviolent struggle for economic justice succeeded. So obviously we're not going to get into the polarizing weeds that white folks love to get into around the right ways to protest and violent versus nonviolent demonstration. People often weaponize Dr. King in support of our own whitewashed ideal of what protest and demonstration and strike should look like. Mm-hmm. I personally believe violence as a response to systemic violence is understandable and has its place. And what white people deem violent, like looting or damage of property, is often a bullshit way to justify true violence.
Capitalist response.
Yeah, like police opening fire on a kettled group of people or gunning down a child at a protest because they may or may not have been looting or they had the audacity to not work. So I just always like to take these opportunities to encourage all of us as white people and white listeners to unpack our relationship with quote unquote violence and what we as white people think violence is versus what violence marginalized communities experience every single day before we comment on how those communities behave and organize and demonstrate. Moving on. On April 3rd, 1968, Dr. King did return to Memphis and delivered what would be his last public speech, which was entitled, "I've Been to the Mountaintop." I'm sure many of us have read it. At a poignant moment, he preached about his own mortality, telling the crowd, quote, "I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land." The very next evening, on April 4th, 1968, as Dr. King prepared for dinner, he was assassinated on the second floor balcony of the Lorraine Motel. So, Coretta Scott King, his wife, along with SCLC and union leaders, led a silent march of an estimated 42,000 people.
Oh my God.
On April 8th, 1968, only 4 days after his assassination. And not only was this march in honor of Dr. King, but it was to continue the work in this specific sanitation, racial justice labor movement in Memphis.
God, I forgot about the sanitation strikers.
She led this march and continued with community leaders to demand concessions from Mayor Loeb and galvanize the public around this last movement that Dr. King was supporting.
How powerful an action a few days after your husband's assassinated for political reasons.
Yes. Likely by the state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unimaginable what it would be like for her to have participated in this, continuing the work in the wake of her husband's stolen life. And like, also that's
like immediately.
That's what Black and brown families still deal with today, showing up through grief, through threats of violence, threats of death, to continue to advocate for marginalized people. So like, we have to take note, they don't have the option of like to rest and ignore it, because look at Breonna Taylor, it comes right to your door, you know? And that's not to say that like those in support of the movement don't also need to balance rest so that we can continue to show up. But like so many of us are just not showing up at all. And, you know, these folks don't have the choice. Of course she was going to go. He had promised to come back and the work wasn't done. So what the fuck else does she do? Wait for more people to die? Like, that's the question that it shouldn't even be a question. Like that we should be showing up and supporting in whatever ways we possibly can, because we do have the choice, and you know, just please make the right one. So yeah, I mean, it was really hard to sit with that. That's really fucking devastating, and it makes me really think about like all of the movements we've participated in around police violence. Like they are led predominantly by the grieving families of their stolen children, spouses, parents. Like they're out here in their grief under threat of violence to advocate for people who have been taken from them, who can't advocate for themselves, and to try to keep it from happening again.
They don't get to keep scrolling or like go do something else.
So, you know, it's not meant to be like a let's all feel guilty and Amanda's on a white guilt trip. It's like, no, we just we have to acknowledge these realities and make them part of how we live our lives in white bodies. That's all I'm saying. However you choose to do that is your prerogative. But, you know, there are ways to be in support of the movement. So obviously Dr. King's assassination sent shockwaves and grief, mourning, civil unrest all across the United States. And like in Memphis, the strike continued. They were like, we are not fucking giving up. President Lyndon B. Johnson intervened, sending Undersecretary of Labor James Reynolds to Memphis to negotiate a resolution with this growing number of demonstrators. Finally, nearly 2 weeks after Dr. King's death, so they've been on strike since February. This has been going on for months now. It wasn't until Dr. King's assassination that it was like, oh shit, the people are really going to pay attention now. We better do something about it.
Yeah.
So on April 16th, 1968, the Memphis sanitation workers' strike did end. The city agreed to the workers' core demands, which were issuing raises to Black employees and officially, recognizing the workers' union. And while the immediate agreement brought the strike to an end, the union had to threaten another strike just to ensure the city followed through on the promises they made to end the first strike. So like this, again, this is consistent today. You have to keep pressure and accountability even after promises are made. Legislation or adjustments or empty promises to appease the growing discontent can be just left by the wayside and totally not followed through on without sustained accountability. Those systems just go right back to business as usual, and they do not give a fuck about you. They just want you to shut up and go back to work. So keep on them. The Memphis sanitation workers' strike left an indelible mark on the civil rights movement and American history, highlighting the crucial link between racial injustice and economic injustice, and broadening the focus of organizations like the NAACP and leaders like Dr. King to explicitly advocate for workers' rights and financial justice for people of color, because that was like such a huge part of the movement. And before anybody wonders, like, well, what about the white people that weren't paid well? Everybody wins when the most marginalized are seen as human. And so white employees in these areas were not experiencing the same conditions, the same lack of pay or forgetfulness of pay. Like, they didn't have to strike to advocate for what they needed because they were mostly provided what they needed in this context. So this is just, the people who needed it, who were not being given equitable opportunities. This started as a labor movement and turned into something that changed the trajectory of the civil rights movement and American history entirely. So, like, the working class is so important, and all of these movements are so intrinsically connected, no matter where you are on that spectrum. So the labor movements are also really important to keep an eye on, obviously in our own country, but globally. Like, we have so much we can learn from other countries about how they organize.
We definitely do.
We do. So the powerful slogan, "I am a man," became a universal rallying cry for dignity, respect, and humanity for all. And this, again, started as a labor movement, but working class struggles are intrinsically linked to the intersection of race and gender and have the power and potential to change the course of history. So ultimately, the strike's success, though hard won and marked by tragedy, stood as a testament to the power of collective action in the ongoing fight for civil rights. And a huge part of the reasons we understand from what we know around why Dr. King was assassinated is because he was seen as dangerous by the federal government for mobilizing so many people all over the country. And so that is a direct indication of how powerful it is and just how far the state and white supremacy will go to protect that illusion of power. The power is on the street. The power is in the working class.
It's in the labor.
And in the labor. So
I feel like such a communist. I love it.
But I mean,
hey,
you don't have to be like a full-blown communist to believe in more socialist leaning policies and labor rights and basic human rights.
But it's
don't let anyone trick you into thinking you fucking do.
No, it's just such a socialism and communism are such stupidly hot button words that people just freak out about. And it's like, okay. I mean, I think labor unions sound great.
Yeah, 100%. Support your local union.
Yeah. But yeah, we the workers have the power.
Goddamn right.
And I think especially when it comes to an administration that is wholly focused on wealth, money, profitability, then we do have actually a lot of leverage and bargaining power in a general strike sort of sense. So keep an eye on those groups and organizations that are talking about a general strike upcoming. Sign that strike card. And this was fun to dive into.
It really was. I mean, it's powerful shit.
Powerful shit. Well, thank you so much for listening, and especially thank you to our Uncorked subscribers. Your generous support means a lot to us, and it gives you ad-free episodes, back catalog ad-free, bonus content.
Damn right.
Damn straight.
Happy hours, exclusive merch, live show pre-sale. There's a lot going on over there.
There's a lot going on. So
come hang out with us.
Come hang out with us. And thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Like what you see? Check out more episodes and become a member to unlock exclusive content.
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye.